Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Nathan here bringing you guys another video. And today I'm going to be doing something a little different. So I'm a huge fan of sports, but I've really been getting at college basketball these past couple, like 5 years or so. And this year I kind of wanted to share with you guys, to a certain extent, my college basketball knowledge, or kind of like, I just wanted to talk college basketball with you guys. I considered doing something like this for college football, but I didn't know as much about it. And I wanted to use this year in terms of college football to get my knowledge up. But I know, a decent amount of college basketball to the point where I feel comfortable sharing my opinions and my knowledge with it. This video, first of all, we're going to try to do this every week. I want to try to drop it on Monday. The reason this video is going out on a Tuesday is because the college basketball season doesn't start till Tuesday, so I kind of want to drop it the day the new AP poll drops. So kind of like a segment that I'm going to be doing with that is that I'm going to be reacting to the AP poll, what my poll would be, et cetera, stuff like that. Going off of that, we've obviously had the preseason AP poll drop. I'm actually going to have that right here. I'm not going to react to it because what I did was I made my own poll. Obviously it has a lot of the same themes. It has some differences, but I have my preseason AP poll right here. And then you'll see the differences in them. I'll kind of highlight them. And then I'm going to go through my poll, kind of what I think about each team. I'm only going to give each team, a minute or so because I only have, there's 25 teams. I don't want to make this video long as hell. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 25 and then we'll go from 25 to 1 and then talk more after that. Okay, so before we get into this, I'd like to make a note that a lot of the teams on here I'm going to be ranking higher that are more continuous in that sense. In the end of the day, like if a team brings back a lot of its players, I think that more like not if those players were good, that they're going to be a better team than someone who brings in 5 new players that are supposed to be good. Because at the end of the day, those guys will play together and there's some sort of continuity and chemistry there that new players and new teams don't have. That being said, I'm going completely against that with this first pick. Number 25, I have Oklahoma. I think bringing in Porter Moser is a huge hire. Not that Lon Kruger was bad, but as someone that is focused on the Big 12 primarily, it just didn't seem like, I felt like there was a ceiling with Lon Kruger and that the ceiling has been raised with Porter Moser. I've been active on the transfer market. They bring in Tanner and Jacob Groves, the brothers that almost got Kansas last year in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They still have Moise Gibson and Elijah Harkless, and I think Porter Moser is going to have that team. I don't know if they'll be the Big 12 championship, but I think they'll be in the upper half of the league, and for me that puts them at 25. At number 24, I have the Arkansas Razorbacks. Nearly at 18 last year, losing to the eventual national champion Baylor Bears. They had Stanley Amude and Adize Tone to a veteran group, and I think that this team is going to be another tough out in the SEC. And to be honest with you, the SEC only has 3 or 4 top 25 teams, so I think they should be in the top 3 or 4 in the league, competing for the SEC title. These next two I don't have too much on. I have just pretty much quick hits about these two. At number 23, I have the USC Trojans. Just going to be quick about this. Be careful counting them out. They have Isaiah Mobley. They have another solid cast of veterans. They have a great coach. I had them at 23. I don't think the Pac-12 is that powerful, so I could see them finishing in the top 3, maybe even top 2 in the league. At 22, this is going to surprise a lot of people. I have the Louisville Cardinals. There's a veteran team that's been very impressive throughout exhibition play. I've seen them play. Not physically, but I've seen them play. There's some of the exhibition game. And yeah, very impressive. Key player to watch out on that team, JUCO transfer, Sidney Curry. At number 21, this is going to surprise a lot of people. I have the North Carolina Tar Heels. For me, I have to see that Hubert Davis can handle the pressure of winning at UNC. I think they have some great transfers in Dawson Garcia and Brady Manick, and they're going to form a great front court with Armando Beckett. I have to see a little more out of the guards to see how well they can rise in the ACC and maybe throughout the tournament, but I definitely think this is a top 21 team. At number 20, I have Memphis. A lot of people have them closer to 10. For me, I have to see it because this is a team that has never been to the NCAA tournament under Penny Hardaway, and he's had some pretty considerable talent. He's had Precious Achiuwa, he had James Wiseman. I know that season was cut short, but they've had talent there. Still have never made it to the NCAA tournament, so I need to see it. But I feel like this team is going to go as far as Imani Bates and Jalen Duran will take them. For me, I have them at 20. I think that's a very conservative pick. I think a lot of people are going to have them 10 to 15. I know the polls have them, I think, at 12. For me, I just need to see it. At number 19, I have Maryland. I think transfers Fats Russell and Kudus Wahab are just the biggest needs on this team. And then adding those two to the group of, the duo of Eric Elia and Donta Scott is going to give the Terps a veteran team. And I think that's going to be a key for them in the Big Ten, as the Big Ten is always, a very physical, like, beat 'em up grind through February and March. I think it's going to be key for them. I think they're a good team. Now, are they a second weekend team? I think so, but I don't think I think they top out there. At number 18, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. For me, I know I'm a little bit lower than the polls are, but I think adding J.D. Davison to a Sweet 16 team last year, losing to the Cinderella story of UCLA, it could make them a sleeper team. Nate Oates has these guys running, and they have a very guard-heavy system. I'm pretty sure they have Charles Bediako. I don't know. might be mispronouncing his name. I know they have Javon Quinterly out there. I think this team could make a run if they get hot at the right time. I just need to see how well this team can defend. At number 17, this is really going to be the one that knocks people off. I have UCLA. For me, UCLA was a very average team going into like right before the tournament. And I need to see that they can really do this over the whole season to see if they're legit. Hell, they needed like 40 points from Jaime Waka's Jr., their point guard, to even get past Michigan State to make their run. For me, I need to see more. But I do like the additions they have in Miles Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, from Rutgers, and 5-star Peyton Watson. If they're legit, adding those two are going to rocket them on my leaderboard. I just have to see it. And they're going to get some big tests early in the season, so I'll come back to it with that. At number 16, I'm going to make this quick. I have the Tennessee Volunteers. I think the incomings Kennedy Chandler and the transfer from Auburn, Justin Powell, going to give Volunteers a very dangerous backcourt down in Knoxville, and I think they could challenge for, a top seed in the SEC. At number 15, I have the Duke Blue Devils. I know the polls have them a little higher. They have them at 9. They have a lot of talent. They have Wendell Moore, Trevor Keels, Jalen Bax, Jeremy Roach, AJ Griffin. That's a lot of talent for your guards, maybe even your threes. But this team is only going to go as far as Paulo Banchero takes them. That being said, I think a breakout candidate for this team, and even for college basketball, keep an eye on Mark Williams at the center. He could be the difference maker between them being a first weekend team and being a Final Four team. At number 14, I have the Indiana Hoosiers. Getting Tracy Jackson Davis back was a huge win for not only the program, but for Mike Woodson himself, because he's kind of feeling the heat he needs to win. And I think this is the year he finally does. They took a preseason trip and they actually looked really impressive. They played a Serbian pro team. If you know anything about Euroball, those teams are super physical, and for a college team to go on the road, play a pro team and win, very good for the experience of this team and very good for the young guys, so they can kind of see what they're going to be up against transitioning to the next level. At number 13, I have the Kentucky Wildcats, just a little bit lower on them than I think the polls are and most people are, but I kind of need to see. Calipari, they were bad last year, and a lot of stuff happened last year that we don't need to get into, but at the end of the day, the approach that John Calipari had to building this Wildcats team is very different from anything he's ever had. And you'll see that as a common theme throughout these polls, or throughout the polls and throughout the teams. And as you get higher, you'll see that the transfer market has been really big for college basketball. For me, I need to see John Calipari take these veteran guys, not just one as he's had in like Nate Sestina and other players, but I need to see him bring those guys in and kind of mesh them together. Because I believe it's a little harder to bring transfers in because they have that experience of being maybe the guy or having this experience at different levels, and you coming into a different program, so you don't know what to expect. Whereas the high school guys, I believe those guys, you don't know what to expect, but you don't know anything different. You don't know what the collegiate level is supposed to be like, so you don't have that experience to be like, oh, this is how it should be like. That being said, they reloaded. They got a lot of transfers. They also have a lot of high-end high school talent. Again, I'm very conservative on them. I think it'll work. If it works, to a T, there's a national championship contender. There's no doubt. If it doesn't, I don't think they'll go 9-16 or whatever the equivalent would that be over a full season. But I think they could be a middle of the pack team in the SEC. But I'm gearing them toward, having it work. At number 12, I'm very high on this team. Like I mentioned earlier, I know I was really big on continuity. I'm putting number 12 as the UConn Huskies. Even with the loss of James Bootnight, who's a tremendous talent, they have RJ Cole, Tyrese Martin, and Isaiah Whaley still there. For me, I have a potential breakout as Adama Sanago, I think his name is. And this year they're going to have the healthy Akok, which should make this team interesting. A veteran team, especially since they're going to be in the Big East. Not necessarily the hardest conference to be in. I think it can help them grind through and rack up the wins, and that'll help build their confidence, and that'll make them a dangerous team come March. Number 11, this is going to raise some eyebrows. I have the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I know they lost a lot, coaching, players, transfers, etc. I think they have very underrated talent that they brought in through the transfer portal. And Mark Adams, the head coach that got brought in, was actually lobbied for by the players that are left over. And I think that the defense, if you know Mark Adams, his defense is like a no-middle defense. Don't let people drive to the paint. I think it's going to keep Tech in every single game that they're in. And I think that'll help them pull out some games that, some teams won't be able to. All right, getting into the top 10. This is a team that has a lot of continuity, but I'm very down on compared to the polls because I just need to see how it works. At number 10, I have Villanova. I think losing Jeremiah Robinson early is going to hurt this team a lot more. Not a lot more, but more than people are realizing. For me, it's how well can Colin Gillespie and Jermaine Samuels play to keep them winning. And if they play really well, the team is going to be great because these are two of the best players in college basketball. But I just want to see how they do without J.R. Reed, who steps up in that front court. Number 9, At number 9, I have another team that people are probably gonna be like, why are they so high? I have the Houston Cougars. I'm very high on Kyler Edwards and Marcus Astor making another step to kind of fill that role that especially Quentin Grimes left. The key to this team is how well can Kelvin Sampson get them to defend and rebound. I believe that Kelvin Sampson is going to have them do both those things at a high level, which is what propelled them to the Final Four last year. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to, call a Final Four run for these guys again, as I did a year ago, but I definitely think they're a second weekend team, maybe an Elite 8 team. At number 8, I have the Purdue Boilermakers. I think if you combine the elite front court of Travion Williams and Zach Edey with guard Jaden Ivey, you have a Final Four team makeup. I have them 8. I just think that right now they need to go through the Big Ten grind, and then if they can come through that, not relatively unscathed, but as a team that knows how to win, then I think that this team is definitely a Final Four team. At number 7, I have another Big Ten team. This one is probably going to surprise a lot of people. I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. DJ Liddell is a stud, great forward for the Buckeyes. For me, the key to this team is can other players like Justice Suing step up to help the team reach its ceiling? I believe so. I know they've lost a couple key pieces, but the poll has them dropped. I think they're at 18. I think they're a good team, and I think that this team is going to surprise a lot of people. At number 6, I have another Big Ten team. I have the Illinois Fighting Illini. The surprise return of Koki Cockburn gave Illinois one of the best big men in the country, and then for me, this team is going to rely a lot on Andre Curbelo, and if he plays well, it'll help it reach its ceiling, which for me, I think they can make the Final Four. It depends, again, how well Andre Curbelo plays. At number 5, I actually have the Texas Longhorns. This team is the biggest question mark in college basketball. This team has so much talent coming in specifically from the transfer portal. You have Marcus Carr, Devin Askew, Timmy Allen, Dylan Disu, Christian Bishop, Trey Mitchell. I think that's the 6 transfers that they had mentioned. I might be missing a couple. The only thing is, can it fit? Because nobody's really won with a transfer-heavy team, especially because a lot of these guys, especially Marcus Carr, he's the lead guy at Minnesota. Devin Askew is a big player there at Kentucky. Christian Bishop, the main guy at Creighton. Trey Mitchell, main guy in UMass. I mean, these guys are all alphas. How can you get these guys to fit in? If they can do it, they're going to be the most dangerous team in the country. I think if Texas hits the ceiling, it's it's Texas and Gonzaga in the finals. At number 4, the last Big Ten team I have Michigan. All-American center Hunter Dickinson would have kept this team in a lot of games by himself. They got the #1 recruiting class, and they got transfer Devontae Jones from Coastal Carolina. This team is going to be very, very good, and that's my preseason pick to win the Big Ten. This pick is going to surprise a lot of people. At number 3, I have the reigning national champion Baylor Bears. Matthew Mayer, as well as Arizona transfer James Akinjo, are going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think, I know this team got gutted. Jared Baylor, Davion Mitchell. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of their main guys from the team that won the national championship, but I believe that the coaching staff under Scott Drew, along with, Matthew Mayer taking that next step and the addition of James Akinjo, leading scorer over at Arizona, I think this team is going to they're going to surprise a lot of people. Will they live up to this number 3? Everything has to go right for them, and I think this is the biggest reach on my end. I believe it'll happen. At number 2, I have the Kansas Jayhawks. Very disappointing last year, in a year where everything seemed to be really weird. Nobody knew what was going on. But they returned 4 starters: Ochai Agbaji, Christian Braun, Jalen Wilson, and David McCormick. 2 of those, obviously, Ochai Agbaji and Jalen Wilson, are NBA prospects. And they land lead guard Remy Martin, one of the best players, if not the best player in the Pac-12 last year, another NBA prospect as well, to be that lead ball handler. And that was the biggest weakness they had last year, especially with the departure of Marcus Garrett. For me, I think this team is going to make the finals. Do I have them as my national championship pick? I wish. I really do. But I think the national champion is going to be the #1 team in my preseason poll, and my #1 team in the nation, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They got back Drew Timme, who was, if not the best player, one of the best players in college basketball last year. They bring in #1 prospect Chet Holmgren to form, if not the nation's best front court, one of them. They add in Andrew Nembhard, not added, but Andrew Nembhard was still there. Great point guard, played in all the big games. He's going to be a senior leader for them. This team is going to be nuts. There's other players like I mentioned on the Gonzaga Bulldogs, but for me, that's who I'm preseason picking to win the national championship. And yeah, if you would ask me who my Final Four was, honestly, I would probably go. We'll go Gonzaga. I'm going to put Kansas in there. I'll throw Michigan. And I'm going to throw a surprise. You know what? I'll throw Houston. No, Villanova. We'll throw Villanova in there. So my preseason Final Four is Gonzaga, Kansas, Michigan, Villanova. Now, final segment of the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some games of the week. I have them actually right here on my laptop. Basically, I just want to talk about some of the games that I believe are going to be, games to watch. Games between NBA prospects, just games that I believe that if you're going to sit down and watch college basketball, try to get into it, these are the games you should spend your time on. Because at the end of the day, if you're a casual fan trying to just, get into it a little more, you don't want to sit down and watch like Kansas State versus anybody. You don't want to watch Kansas State. For me, it's pretty easy. On opening night, we have at the Champions Classic, Game 2, number 10 Kentucky at number 9 Duke. Like I said, can the reloaded Wildcats show they're the real deal against Mike Krzyzewski and Paulo Banchero? Kentucky doesn't have that necessarily like one and done talent this year, but they definitely have talent that are looking to be in the NBA. You know, Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington, you know, I can go on. But Paulo Banchero is going to be the show, and how will he respond in his first game of college basketball? Next game, I got Buffalo at number 6 Michigan. I think, you know, this game is going to be, I'm going to bring a couple games to you that you'll be like, whoa, why should I watch this game? I want to see Nolan Hickman come back, and I want to see how he plays. No, again, Michigan has the #1 recruiting class. I want to see how these players play in their first college games, and I want to see how Devontae Jones plays in the Power 5 conference as compared to the Sun Belt. Next game, George Washington at number 21 Maryland. This is going to be not necessarily a litmus test, but I kind of want to see how good Maryland really is. I think I had them at 20 in the 20s in my poll. The AP poll has them at 21. I kind of want to see if I was wrong to believe that they were going to be this good, or if they're the real deal and they should curb stomp George Washington. Now these next 2 games, these 2 are the games of the week. If you're going to sit down and watch any college basketball games, watch one, if not both of these 2. The first one, number 4 Villanova goes to Pauley Pavilion to take on number 2 UCLA. This is going to be an elite game. UCLA, this is going to be their first real test. Because this Villanova team, these guys aren't fakers. Villanova, Jay Wright's going to have them. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be prepared. Even though it's going to be at home for UCLA, this is not going to be an easy game. Same goes for Villanova. This isn't going to be an easy game. This is going to be the litmus test. If UCLA can come out and beat Villanova, they're the real deal. And that's not to say even if they lose, they're not. But if they come out and get their ass whipped, how good are they? Next game, number 5 Texas at number 1 Gonzaga. This is going to be the first test. Same thing for Texas. How good are they? They're going up to Spokane to play Gonzaga at home. For me, we're going to see some big questions answered here. 1, how well does the Timmy Chet Holmgren frontcourt work against good college basketball players? This Texas team doesn't have that many freshmen. It's a lot of veteran talent. So Drew Timme might be fine, but we're going to see how Chet Holmgren reacts in his first real test, especially because they don't play really anybody the Gonzaga Bulldogs do in their conference schedule. Number 2, how well is this Texas roster? How well have they meshed? For me, it's going to be big because at the end of the day, this team is going to be bringing a lot of players from a lot of places. If they play well on the road, even if they don't win, it's going to be a real factor deciding is Texas for real. Final game, not necessarily game of the week, but if you're going to sit down, watch a couple games, watch this one. ETSU at number 18 to Tennessee. Not a game you should take lightly, especially if you're the Volunteers. For me, I want to see Kennedy Chandler play. I want to see how he does. ETSU is no cakewalk either. Tournament team almost every year. I don't think Tennessee should have a problem with them, but I kind of want to see how they do in this game. So yeah, that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I plan to have these out, you know, once a week. I know this one's a little long. I don't think I'm going to be going through every team every week, but I kind of like next week would just be like, I'll go through the games of the week, how they did. Maybe I'll go through some surprises. You know, we'll figure it out as we go. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I really enjoyed filming this. And yeah, see you guys next week. Peace.